our event, where Sheldon and I are going to spend the next, 45 minutes or so just discussing kind of how our current real estate market is being impacted by what's going on, right? Like, we're going to be talking about how to keep your business healthy and strong throughout this really strange and unprecedented time that we're going through, because I know there's been a lot of uncertainty out there, a lot of questions, and a lot of perceptions, right? A lot of this has been fear-based. And so I think this is an important topic for us to talk about. And so Sheldon and I are really excited to be here today. And so what we're going to be talking about today is how you can kind of pandemic-proof your business, right? We're going to be talking about how you can put buyers and sellers' minds at ease, right? Because that's really the big thing. They're scared. This is a very big perception issue right now. And then we're going to be talking about how you can really maximize any downtime that you do encounter during this period, right? At the end, we do want to open it up so you guys can ask your questions, because you're the ones that are out there in the field, in the trenches, right, trying to keep your business going. So we want to hear from you in terms of what you're experiencing, what questions you have that maybe we didn't cover in the content that we have for today. So this is going to be, a fun call, and I hope you guys walk away with a few ideas or ahas once we wrap up today. This webinar is being recorded, and if you expand your chat menu on your little GoToMeeting sidebar there, you'll see a link where you can either click it or copy and paste that into your browser, and then that's where you can download the slides for today. And spoiler alert, that's also where the recording will live once it's posted a little bit later. So you'll all receive a link to the recording. So that being said, let's jump in. And so, I know that there are some real concrete impacts to our industry, but a lot of it too is the perception, especially when we're talking about buyers and sellers. So Sheldon, walk us through how this is impacting all of us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously very strange time, and I would say almost a disclaimer here in a way, but a lot of what Jen and I are going to talk about today, including this right here, is about opportunity, right? And you'll hear us say things like that. And we're totally speaking strictly professionally, right? There's a lot going on personally for people. I have really good friends that have lost their jobs. I know a lot of people. I have a friend that works at a company where the entire sales staff was let go. So this is very real. We're in Washington State here, so we're kind of in what was considered the epicenter at one point in the United States. We're outside the Seattle area. But this is impacting all of us. I mean, again, to kind of make it to home for some of the people near here is Washington State was one of the first companies where real estate, they shut down all open houses. They did this about 2 weeks ago. You were not allowed to have open houses. You're actually now, with the shelter-in-place order, not even allowed to, and I'm doing air quotes here, practice real estate. You cannot go out, and it's not considered essential business. So there are things that you have to do to adjust to that. And what we're finding is that a lot of agents are trying to figure out ways and scramble, okay, well, what do I do during this period of time? So it's a real impact on the industry. I mean, it's odd to even hear someone say your job is not essential, right? You're not an essential part of this industry. And so that's what we're hearing. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of my friends who are in real estate is they're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do right now in today's time for people that I can't show open houses? I'm not allowed to go out and practice real estate. So yeah, very real in the industry here. And like I said, we're in kind of the original epicenter of the U.S.
And Sheldon mentioned this a little bit just a few seconds ago that, there is some opportunity here. And, in dark times does come some light for us. And this is really the time to dig in and focus on how you can not only align your business with the current times, right, but, adopt new technologies and strategies so that once this all passes, right, then you're better off on the other side. And so we're going to be talking about, some of those technology platforms to use and different strategies to adopt. But first, let's talk about, working with buyers and sellers. You can adopt all of the technology out there, but it doesn't necessarily help if buyers are afraid to buy and sellers are afraid to list, right? And so I think the mindset of sellers right now is, it's a bad time to sell. They especially don't want strangers walking through their house. And like Sheldon mentioned, in some areas like ours, you can't have strangers walking through your house. and that, no one's buying right now. No one's buying homes right now. And so I think we have an opportunity here to educate them that it is still a good time to list, right? And then show them how you can accomplish everything that needs to be accomplished via technological and virtual means. And we're going to spend a good amount of time talking about virtual approaches to our day-to-day business. And Sheldon, there's a lot of opinion out there that buyers are definitely more impacted here, right? They're not in a hurry to buy, so they have the luxury of waiting, or they are worried that they can't see the homes to make that educated decision. But I think most importantly for buyers right now, there's this uncertainty, right? There's this, what if I do lose my job and I can't pay my mortgage, right? So how do we approach kind of comforting buyers and putting them at ease when there is so much potential financial uncertainty with them?
Hey, yeah, it's a great question, and kind of hearing from some of you guys, we're having some sound issues, so do bear with us. It's coming through on our end, okay. So if you're having sound issues, just kind of maybe it's to hang up and dial back in. But I think we're coming through okay, and we're getting some good questions so far. We have Mike saying sound is fine, so that's good. For the most of us, it's okay, but you might have to redial in, so I appreciate you guys. But yeah, back to your question, Jenna, and it is interesting, and what we're hearing in the market, right, is that it does appear, like Andrew is even suggesting it right here, is buyers are impacted by the stock market too, is buyers are more impacted right now than sellers. And what you have to be thinking about right now, so I'll give a real life example. I have a friend that it was 2 days ago, got pre-approved. He's been looking to buy. And he's asking me, like, what's your advice right now? What do I do? Is this the time to buy a home? And what I did is I walked him through the pros and cons, and you need to be aware of this. The truth is right now, and again, I'm going to use this word opportunity, is as a buyer right now, you're not ever going to have a better opportunity if you have job stability, right? And that's important to remember. But as a buyer right now, there will never, ever be less competition, right? You have the lowest interest rates basically ever. I don't know that it can get lower, although some people are speculating negative, right? But you're going to have crazy low interest rates, and you're going to have zero competition, right, relatively speaking. And so what I was telling my friend, Rich, as I was telling him, I was like, look, man, if you're feeling good about things, right, no one ever knows what's going to happen, right? Like this, we couldn't have predicted what's going on here. But this is the time. If you're pre-qualified, then you need to go look, because you're not going to have a lot of competition right now. And the flip side of that was, as I was explaining to him, what you're losing out on is that you're having less people list their homes. So you need to be thinking about that right now. The con right now is that there are going to be sellers who are holding off, who are waiting for this to pass, again using air quotes, and then they're going to put these homes on the market. There is no question that when this kind of gets a little bit more stable, you're going to see a flood of homes hit the market. And so that's what I was walking Rich through as I was explaining to him, is that you got to understand is you will never get a better time. If you find the home you want, then this is the best time ever to buy. But you got to understand is the negative might be the inventory.
Right, because you're not going to get into those multiple offer scenarios and things like that. And there are simple ways to mitigate, right? In other parts of the country where you are more able to move more freely, right, you can provide, hand sanitizer, shoe covers. I had an email from an agent who actually was offering to put up hand washing stations at the listings, which, it's a little excessive, but if that's what it takes to ease their minds, right, then that's all worth it, right? So, I mean, and also do, private showings, one-on-one, or virtual showings, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit more detail here. And when you do those private showings, it's easier to keep track of what's been touched, right? Doorknobs, banisters, kitchen counters. And then I had another email, because I'm on a lot of email lists, from another agent who actually was including a professional deep cleaning and sanitization of the home upon closing, right? So there's other ways that you can kind of build in some of these processes to help ease these concerns. And also it lets them know that you're aware of what's going on, right? We're all aware of what's going on, and it's okay to talk about that and be really upfront. But I think, like Sheldon said, we want to show them the opportunity of right now, right? This is a great time to buy. And, Gary Keller said, find the people who want to play in this market, right? Sheldon mentioned some people are going to be afraid. They're going to stay in the wings. They're going to wait until it's different, right? But there are people who recognize the opportunity and they see that this is an iron is hot time.
I just to speak to this, right? I mean, we're at the end of the day, we're all in sales, and a lot of this comes down to the way that we view what's going on right now. This is the time where you're going to hear the crazy 2009, 2010, 2011 success stories. Except for now, it's going to be the 2020, 2021, 2022, right? You're going to hear from the agents who built their business during this time, and what happened is they did exactly this. You cannot just stop. You can't stop things. You can't shut down what you're doing. You have to find different ways to do it, right? So like we had another agent chat in that in Maryland, you can't have open houses. So basically it's just like Washington. And so what we're going to talk about and what you need to be thinking about is that, okay, if I can't be physically out doing these, right, then what can I do, right? And then we're going to talk about different ways to do that, because just shutting down, or, you know, we've had a lot of our customers even panic and say, you know what, I gotta close this all down right now, and I'll wait for it to come back. Well, that's going to hurt you 6 months from now. So this is a lot of the mindset of a salesperson right now is like, you've got to help your customers get through this, weather the storm, and understand that this will pass. Absolutely, it will.
And Sheldon, I do want to, we have a couple really great questions, and so I kind of want to get some of these answered as we go. So we had one specific question is, can we do virtual listing presentations? And I think as we get through some of the more virtual tools that we're going to talk about, absolutely. And then Sheldon, there was another great question from Aaron, like, should we be afraid of the optics of just doing business as usual, right? Or should we be really cognizant and transparent that, you know, this is a very different time right now?
You know, I think you use a good word, should you be aware of it is maybe the best way to say it. I would not be afraid of it, right? Is business must go on. We can't, as best as we can, we have to try to maintain normalcy. And there are absolutely people out there that are going to be buying and selling homes during this period of time. Will there be less? 100%, right? There's no question about that. This isn't business as usual. But we have to try to make it that way. And so you gotta continue to do your thing and be creative with that, and understand that right now maybe you're just building pipeline, or maybe your pipeline gets pushed out. You know, it's funny with real estate. There's kind of two things I was thinking about. Is there might be no better audience suited for a time like this than a real estate agent, because there's absolutely nothing consistent about what you do anyway, right? You have no consistent paycheck. There's always crazy things that happen in your business. Nothing ever goes according to plan. So that there might be no audience better suited towards that. But at the same time, you're in the relationship business, and that's what you sell. You sell relationships. And so it's odd to be in social isolation when you can't sell relationships. And so it's just an odd time. But I do think as an audience, nobody's better prepared for this period of time.
And the second part of his question I want to address, he says, you know, should social media side, right, of posting, you know, listings and things like that be toned down? And certainly not, because, you know, like we've said, people are buying homes right now. I think your message just has to show a little bit more cognizance as well, right? You could say, hey, this is a brand new listing, you know, but maybe add, let me know if you want to do a virtual tour, or let me know if you want me to virtually escort you through the home, right? Provide those alternatives other than the face-to-face and the you know, within 6 feet and things like that. And that actually brings us into leveraging tools and technology. And I think what's really interesting about this current state right now is that it's forcing a lot of us, it's forcing this industry to go into a far more digital and virtual platform, right? Where we're very rapidly adopting digital means to do things like open houses, right? Things that were very face-to-face based. And so I think it's a really important time to evaluate what technology and tools you are able to and want to and should adopt, because who's to say that once, you know, this passes and we get to the other side of this, that's going to change, right? Once we adopt all these digital means and we're able to streamline processes, and do a lot of real estate online, who's to say that we're going to take that step back and go and just abandon all of this tech that we've adopted? And so this is a really great time to learn and adopt new technologies. And I think, like Sheldon said, we're in the relationship business, right? And so you can still keep this personal. I think tools like FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, how many of you on this call in your Facebook newsfeed have seen screen grabs of people doing virtual happy hours on Zoom? I mean, it's inundating our news feeds, and it's great, right? These are great tools that you can use to have face-to-face conversations with people. And, when we talked about doing virtual listing appointments, Zoom would be a great tool to do a virtual listing appointment. Just like right now, GoToMeeting is a great option as well. But Zoom is, even the kids and teachers are using Zoom right now. Zoom is a great product, and it's a great way to put your face in front of other people, right? I think this is a time where, because in parts of this country we are very isolated right now, that we're craving that more human contact, right? And so this is an opportunity for you to be more than just an email.
I'd encourage you to, we're getting a ton of people chatting in that, Microsoft Teams is great. My daughter's kindergarten is using Zoom, right? Jacqueline says there's a lot of people that are chatting this in, right? And it's cool. I would encourage all of you to you don't need to, like right now, I would not ask permission to FaceTime someone. That's how I'd call them, right? It's becoming more and more normal. That's how I meet with my team right now. I don't text them and say, hey, I want a video chat with you. I just do the video chat, right? Do the FaceTime, that. People are looking for that right now. We are all in this together. I think that is one of the main messages that I'm starting to understand is happening right now, is everyone is experiencing this, right? I had, apparently there is a lot of fraud going on with credit cards right now. So I found out yesterday that my credit card had fraud on it and it was canceled by my bank. And so I get a phone call from Chase Bank, and we're having a video chat, and she's telling me about how her daughter went through the same thing. It is incredible how many people are going through this right now. I do want to address, there was a great question that Linda asked. She was asking about, she has a tenant right now who they want to list on 5/1, but they have children, and she's been given kind of this tax advantage to wait 60 days on deferred payments and things like that, but they still want to list, but there's children and they don't want people walking through it, and so they're worried about it. And it's a great question. I just encourage all of you, and Linda, this is what I would say to you, is to be thinking about how can you be creative during this period of time. So like, for example, in the listing details, when you list that property, make it very clear that, hey, during this period of time, we're trying to do virtual showings, right? Please contact me directly to do a virtual showing. You can put that in bold in the listing details, right? Things like that are going to help you be creative, where in normal times people would be like, what is Linda talking about, a virtual showing? That's crazy. That's the kind of stuff we need to be creative with and take advantage of right now. So that's what you got to be thinking about.
And I think as we adopt new digital means to do some of these things, I think and Sheldon just made a great point, we're going to have to educate consumers as well, right? Consumers are very used to the way real estate has always been done. Everyone knows what an open house is, even if they've never entered the real estate market. And so by being really transparent about how they can see the property, it enables you to educate the consumer along the way as well. So that's a really great point. And, I think one of the most important tools that we have in the market leader system right now is listing alerts and your website, right? Because this is how they're going to see listings apart from, virtual tours or virtual open houses. And so, by having those automated listing alerts and having a really powerful IDX website, this allows them to see real-time listings, right? And that is still what they're after. That's still what they want, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Listings are still one of the most important things. You can look at comps, or you can look at potential homes that you're going to buy. And so you still have these really great tools in the market leader system to stay in front of consumers and provide what they need. And then also video email. I said just a few minutes ago that this is an opportunity to be more than an email or more than a voicemail, right? Or just more than a voice. Like, let people see your face and hear your voice, right? This is a really important way to connect right now. And in the system, in your marketing center, you have a library of build your own video email templates where all you really have to do is just create the video and put it onto YouTube or Vimeo and then put it into the email. It's very easy to create these video emails. And I think, you know, when you talk about video email, I think there's this really big misconception that it's a big thing. It's a big ordeal, right? It takes a lot of time. I shoot most of my market leader videos just on my iPhone in a conference room. And the sound quality is great. The picture quality is great. You know, you don't have to have this really highly produced thing. And in fact, just you and a camera makes it a lot more personal. And that's really what we're after right now. This is an opportunity to be really personal, but in a digital fashion, right? It's more important than it ever has been.
I would just encourage that because we're getting great questions, and this is one of our most attended webinars we've ever had. There's a lot of you that are asking questions, and keep in mind, I don't know how many people have on this call have read either the Millionaire Real Estate Agent or Shift, right? We are experiencing a market shift right now. The agents right now that can take advantage of these tools, social media, video, who can thrive are going to be the ones that come out on the other end of this thing. So like, for example, Dave chats in and he says, I'm in Washington State right now. I can't go out and you know, go do even a virtual open house, right? Something like that. But what he's trying to do is provide service, right? And that is absolutely the right approach. You've got to be in relationship service building mode right now. You can't take the approach of, well, no real estate's moving, so I'm going to hang on. I'm going to hang tight. Double down on building relationships, double down on education with these people, because now is the time. You're in the midst of a shift right now. You have got to understand that taking advantage of things like video is key. You know, someone else chatted in, and I'm not sure if you were kidding, but we were saying, I'm not presentable when I do FaceTime. I'm absolutely not going to do that. Well, we got to put ourselves together then, right? And this is just, there's a lot of literature and research on this as well, but sometimes if you're working from home, for any of you that aren't experienced with this, is sometimes it's good to just wake up in the morning and put on a power suit, or just wake up in the morning and do your hair and just make everything normal. I'm telling you, that matters right now. Engage with people.
And, you know, to Sheldon's point, you know, we've had to adjust here, like he's mentioned, we're in Washington State. And so we've all suddenly become work from home employees, and it, you know, it is an adjustment. And so those little things you can do, right? Showering, getting ready every day, going for that morning jog, sticking to your routine as much as possible. Because, you know, it's, you know, these videos and FaceTime, it's not a beauty contest, right? It's about building relationships. And let's be honest, we are our harshest critics. And so if you don't think you look good on FaceTime and you think maybe you're a hot mess, I can assure you that 99% of other people don't think that. We are the hardest on ourselves. And I actually had one agent that I was emailing with, and he has Photoshop on his, you know, workstation on his computer. And so he's actually coaching his sellers to take their own listing photos so that people don't have to go into the home and take the photos. Because, you know, if in order to put it on the MLS and put the listing online, you've got to have the photos. And that's really what consumers want to see. And so he coaches them and he provides them tips on how to take the best listing photos just with their iPhone or their smartphone, right? And then they send the photos to him and he can edit them in his Photoshop, you know, just brighten some things and stuff like that. And so this is a really great alternative to having people come into the house to take the listing photos. This is a necessary part of listing a home, but by providing the alternatives, right, you can also leverage drones to do exterior shots so that you can stay way more than 6 feet away. Or if you know a really great listing photographer, maybe pick their brain. This would also be really great blog content as well, right? You have to switch your way of thinking to educating the consumer on how they can help make this process safe and more digital and keep everyone healthy, because it's not just us that's doing this, right? The consumer is going to play their part too. And this also enables you to provide service.
Again, we're continuing to get great questions and thoughts and feedback and comments, and so I want to kind of continue to double down and pepper in some stuff as Jenn is talking about these concepts and ideas. But we're getting a lot of people asking about video and asking about question, right? If you're in a state, let me just give an example. If you're in Texas right now, to my understanding, not a lot's changed in Texas. There's some states around the country where not a lot has changed, right? But maybe people are still worried about going outside, and of course they should be. So this is not the time to be thinking to yourself, how am I going to get someone to buy today? How am I going to get someone to buy tomorrow, right? Because people are asking, there's some questions, is someone really going to buy a house virtually? No. But if you build value with them right now, when they believe this passes, and it will, they will work with you, right? So think about, like, what if you're in Texas, right? Or what if you're in an area that's not in shelter in place? What if you drove to a home on your phone and picked up your phone and got on FaceTime and said, hey, Jenn, I just wanted to call you and show you a little bit about this neighborhood, this area. You don't even necessarily have to do it live. You could film it and then send it to them. Don't be worried if they don't text back. This is the time where people are judging your engagement. They're judging what you're doing behind the scenes. If they're not replying to you, it doesn't mean that they don't care or that they're not interested. They're just panicked. They're scared. They're worried. You've got to stay engaged with them. Film videos, drive to a home. If you're in Texas, walk through the home. Film a video of it, send it to them, right? These are all the things you need to be thinking about right now to engage and build pipeline. All we're doing, right, mindset right now is that I'm moving homes that would have sold in March or April into May and June and things like that. So that is the mindset right now. And someone just chatted in, Aaron, I've been doing video previews for a couple clients with very good results, right? Positive remarks, right? So this is what you got to be doing right now.
It's really just providing a different level of service. And, we've got a lot of questions and comments about open houses, right? And, just think about open houses just in a little bit of a different way, right? Imagine if when you're doing an open house, you plan an actual Facebook event where you're going to do this open house live, right? You can make it a public event so like anyone can, see the event and join and attend the event. And then on that date and time, you do a Facebook Live as you're walking through the house and showing them different areas of the home and talking about the listing in detail, right? Imagine if the people that are watching your Facebook Live, you're like, hey, if you want me to send you additional information on this property, just go ahead and enter your email address in the comments. Right. And so this is a great way for you to provide value with the open house, right? But also to generate leads while you're doing it, because open houses are a great way to get people's information. You just have to do it in a different fashion, right? But a Facebook Live open house is an awesome way to do an open house. And the nice thing is you don't just have to engage like your sphere or your friends on Facebook. You can engage anyone on Facebook. And so this is a really awesome way to get as many people as you can to your open house, and you can ask them to just enter their contact information. You can also convert these into on-demand videos, so you can, you'll always be able to see the thread and the comments, right? The first 1 or 2 times you do this, admittedly, is going to be uncomfortable, especially if you're not familiar with doing Facebook Live. This is a lot of getting out of our comfort zones. The first time I did a video of myself, it was like gut-wrenchingly awkward, and I was really harsh on myself too, but it gets easier and easier. And eventually this is just going to become second nature. But this is a really great alternative to live in-person open houses, right? And this also, make your tours more virtual. We had a lot of comments when we were talking about Zoom and FaceTime and things where you can just walk through the property with your phone. Just give them a good virtual tour. I mean, if you have, other technology for Matterport does like the 3D tours. There's also like floor plan technology out there. If you have software that provides these things, right, leverage that more than you ever have before. But you don't have to have those tools to make virtual tours. And the nice thing about doing virtual tours like with your smartphone and just walking through the house or using Zoom is it allows you to be really personable too. Every opportunity we have to do video or virtual or that face-to-face digital interaction It allows you to build relationships because you're able to show off your personality and who you are.
And we have a couple people chatting, and someone's corrected me, by the way. Texas is now on a shelter in place, and I appreciate the correction. But it's really important that you don't start thinking about. Someone chatted in that their state they also can't do open houses, right? It's not necessarily about getting someone to buy right now. So, like, for example, if I'm in Washington State, which I am, right, and I'm an agent and I can't go out and I can't walk through someone's home. You could, right, drive to that home and just film a quick video of the outside of it, right? I'm please, I'm not telling anyone in Washington, I'm not trying to go against Jay Inslee here, but what I'm saying is that find ways to provide value right now. So, for example, if I had a buyer and they were interested in a property, I could drive to that neighborhood and I could film a video about the neighborhood. I could film a video about the outside. Is that going to make them buy? No, of course not. They still need to walk through it. But I'm just providing value right now. It's going to keep me busy. It's going to help me build a relationship with them. It's just a small way to do that. And I even had another agent chat in that she disagreed with me, saying, I disagree with you. Some people might actually buy on a virtual tour. I love that. Thank you. And I think you're probably right.
Or if you do have to stay home, right? Imagine that you're working with the seller, right? And they're still in the home, and you do a Zoom conference with them, and they walk through the home while you're interviewing them about the property, right? That way, neither of you have to leave the home. And not only are consumers or potential buyers getting to see the property, but they're getting to see the seller talk about the property, right? They're able to envision that property lived in, which is very different than when they just go and look at an empty home, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can utilize technology so that you can remain safe, healthy, and, abide by the laws, but also provide consumers what they need as well. And then also just where you're able, go digital, right? There's, online e-signature, technology, obviously, DocuSign and .loop, they've been around. But, there's online notary where, it's allowed, and just other electronic means will become more and more valuable, right? Because once we make this digital leap, right, and we start doing real estate in a different way, who's to say that it's going to revert right back to what it was, right? Some of these means of doing this might stick around. And so this is the time to really get acclimated and adopt these technologies, especially, millennials. And as Gen Z enters the market, technology is going to remain very valuable, but just now we're in a position where we're kind of, in some ways, forced to adopt it. And so, Sheldon, we had a really great question. What would you recommend for a brand new agent who doesn't have a full pipeline? How would they get started trying to build relationships and get in front of people? I'm thinking social media.
Yeah, I think someone even chatted in, now is the time to double down on lead generation, right? I mean, that is absolutely true. I mean, people are at home. Consumers are online. This is absolutely the time to do so. I also think it's a time to be creative, right? I mean, I think we'll probably talk about this here in a bit, but I can't tell you how many agents I know that have a database of contacts where it was just sitting there and they've had it for years and years and years, right? What if you reached out to one of those agents and said, hey, I got a friend, Abby. Hey, Abby, what would you do if you let me work? Could I work 100 of these contacts, old leads, and maybe give you a 25% referral fee right now? Because you're new, right? We're speaking to a new agent, right? This is the time to be thinking creatively about stuff like that and understanding that you got to think outside the box. So yeah, you can double down on that lead gen. You could use social media. Go talk to a top performing agent who has an old database of leads that they're not touching and give them a referral fee. Like, you're at home, people are at home. Now is the time to do so. And then I just wanted to mention Jenna, I think, was chatted in that she's actually listed, I think she said, or sold 2 homes just from virtual tours during this period of time, which is super cool to see.
And Maria just chatted in, I'm new and I'm calling my sphere, even sometimes just to talk. I'm doing lots of videos, lots of social posts, working with expireds and calling FSBO. So there are things to be doing to help fill your pipeline. And this is a very perfect segue into our next section here, where it's really about making any downtime that you have that dig in time, right? This is the time, like Sheldon has said, to double down and dig in. We're clearly fans of alliteration here, but so when you do have any downtime, or when you are trying to kind of fill some of that, empty time in your day, right? Beef up your marketing. This is a really great opportunity to, like, a couple people have chatted in, check in with your sphere. Boost your video engagement, right? Video, it's very easy. Do more direct mail. Nearly 70% of people feel that direct mail is more personal. And we need personal right now, right? People don't have a lot to do. They're checking their mail every day, I'm sure, right? So direct mail is a great way to market in addition to your more digital means, right? And do virtual events or seminars. If you've got like say a guide or something, your first time home buyer guide, turn that into like a webinar, right? Be in front of people. Be in person as much as you possibly can. And then adopting new strategies. And this has been a really consistent theme in terms of what a lot of people have been chatting in, right? This is where you've got to really focus on filling your pipeline, whether it's, a new social media platform. I think last year in, Q4 sometime, we did a webinar on social media, and we talked a good deal about Instagram. And Instagram is a perfect platform for real estate agents, but there are an astoundingly low percentage of agents that actually leverage Instagram to grow their business, right? So this is a good opportunity to really find a new platform that you want to become present on. Like Sheldon said, people are online right now. And building out your website, right? We've recently, over the course of the last few months, we've made some really huge improvements and really awesome new features when it comes to website customization. And so this is a time for you to really build out the website, customize it, add those custom pages, build out your SEO, right? Do everything you can to maximize that website because, like we mentioned earlier in the call, at some point when we get past this, there's going to be a flood of buyers and sellers entering the market. And so when you hit that insanely busy time, you want to be ready for it, right? Talk about get into new lead generation methods. Maybe you've been wanting to try Google Ads for a while, or you really want to focus on, starting a blog, right? These are great times to do that.
I think this is a great point, right? And maybe I'm going to get on my soapbox here, but this is not the time. We're entrepreneurs, right? If we're in real estate, we're an entrepreneur. We want to be able to dictate our own future. This is not the time to be worried about what you can't do. But there's a lot of people that are chatting in, or even people that I know that are saying, I can't do an open house. I can't cold call because of the state that I'm in. If your plan is to not do anything right now, when things get better, that's when you'll be in real trouble. You cannot sit on the sidelines right now. You've got to figure out what you can do, right? Someone else chatted in, they said, hey, am I allowed to show a video someone's home without their permission? Go knock on their door, right? Knock on their front door and say, hey, I have someone interested in your home. I'm not going to walk through it. Can I just take a video of the outside of it? Stand 6 feet away from it when you ask, right? And I'm not saying everybody can do that. I know we all have different rules in different states. Find things that you can do right now. Inactivity is going to be the death of the business right now. Stay busy. Continue to move forward. This will absolutely pass. And when it does, the faucet is going to turn on, right? Think about how many people are going to list their homes when this all passes. And you want to make sure that you are working with buyers right now, because when that happens, it is going to be a flood of people looking to list and then also looking to buy.
And we had just a really great comment here. Kathy chatted in, I just started using Instagram and my numbers of engagement have tripled from what I was getting from Facebook, right? LinkedIn is great too, right? This is a really good time to create that marketing plan and get onto a new social platform, especially if it's something that you've been thinking about for a while, right? Sometimes building a presence on social takes time. And Sheldon, we had a really great question here. How would you start a conversation with expired listing in today's market without seeming insensitive?
Yeah, I'm guessing this is someone who their calling expireds, right? Or maybe they're calling FSBOs. And I think that right now is kind of almost one of the most unique times to start that conversation. So for me, I'd be jumping right into what you almost feel like, and what you said in your question is insensitive, is like, hey, help me understand, is the reason why your listing expired because of what's going on? And then you get to explain to them what's going to happen here when this shift occurs again, right? Because like I said before, is there is going to be a massive influx of listings hitting the property. So if they're a motivated seller, right, then maybe now is the time to list with you, right? You got to use this to your advantage, make this an opportunity for you, right? Because if you're talking to someone, and by the genesis of your question, you're saying, you're calling out to an expired. Maybe they're a super motivated seller that needs to sell right now because unfortunately someone lost their job, right? It is okay. You've got to take the approach that they need you. That's got to be the approach.
And I think also, while we're in this, strange place, right, this is the opportunity to grow your business, right? Learn new sales skills, right? Sheldon is an avid reader, and he is one of the most knowledgeable people I know because he reads so much. So this is a good opportunity to learn new sales skills, or just skills in general, right? Clean and organize your database. There's never been a better time to kind of spring clean your database, right? Create those groups, add people to groups, identify which campaigns you have going, evaluate if it's time to, vary up some of your marketing campaigns. This is a great time because, when this passes, it's going to be, a fun, crazy time. And so make sure you're ready for it, right?
Another great thing to do right now is, again, we're all at home. We're focused on email or maybe text engagement. I have seen some of the most creative things from realtors on how to engage with consumers. Send an email to your office or text your office and say, who's got the best email template for engaging leads right now, right? People are not busy right now, unfortunately. We're all sitting around trying to engage people digitally, right? This is the time to reach out to people within your sphere. Maybe you have a mentor in the office. It's like, hey, can you please just give me your best email template for contacting an old lead, right? Can you give me your best text template? Like, this is the time, because everyone's living in their database right now. Everyone is living inside of their sphere and trying to figure out, how can I go through my past clients? All right, for 2 years, I've been ignoring my old leads. I bought these leads, or I generated these leads, and I've just ignored them. I wonder if I could just engage with them. Again, don't take the approach of, I'm trying to sell right now. I'm trying to engage so that when things improve, I got a bunch of buyers, right? That is the mindset to have right now. The time is there. The top agent in your office, trust me, they're at home too, right? Reach out to them. What's your best template, right? Get some time on their calendar.
And Andrea chatted in a really great suggestion. This is a really good time to remind past clients to write reviews, right? And this is actually just a great time to reach out to past clients anyways, right? Just, hey, I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy, and yeah, asking them to write reviews is fantastic. We have time to do these things. It's, kind of a blessing and a curse, but the world has the nation has slowed down a little bit. And so this is the time to really try to do those things that you didn't have time to do before, right? Even just, updating your listing appointment resources. If you've got, a PowerPoint that you use in listing presentations, or any tools or resources or guides that you might have, this is a great time to refresh and update some of those materials, right? If you were even thinking about doing listing appointments virtually, which is a great idea, right? Practice on your family. Or if you're doing one of those Zoom happy hours, then practice on them. It will take some time. That's a little bit of a learning curve to figure out how to use the technology with like other resources, right? But practice. The better you are, the better these listing appointments are going to be, because now is the time to really dig in and double down, right? What you do now is going to change your business. If you do nothing now, your business will suffer. if you really dig in and find the opportunity and learn and adopt new technology and tools, it will pay dividends down the road.
Yeah, the last thing that I would just say on this is that the reality is that there are going to be agents that are getting out of the business right now. There are going to be people that are not going to make it through this period of time. Again, let's refer back to 2008, 2009. The agents that are on this call right now that are looking for information, that are seeking education, that are chatting in things like this is what I'm doing, you're going to make it because you have a service approach right now. That is the approach that will win. It's the service approach. If you're trying to sell someone today, if you're trying to figure out, oh, I lost a buyer, right? If that's your mindset, oh my gosh, I lost a buyer. No, it should be, I just moved them from March to April. And you know what? Maybe I got to move them to April to May. That's okay because you're in it for the long haul. You're going to, if you stick with this, I'm telling you, you will be shocked how many people will come out the other side of this with massive opportunity.
And so I do want to, we have about, 15 minutes left here, and I do kind of want you guys to chat in your questions. We've had so many great questions and comments throughout the call today. And so, I do want to say, Kira, just, I love the positivity. I personally needed a push, and it's okay to engage. It's okay to keep moving. And you know what? That is music to my ears. I think a lot of us, we have this trepidation now on how do we proceed? How do we sustain our business? How do we not seem insensitive? And so it's okay to engage with these people. It's okay to generate leads. You just have to provide more education, do it in more digital means. And it's okay to acknowledge that this is a different time right now. Here's how I'm adapting, right? Here's how my business is changing to make sure that we're all safe and healthy.
Yeah, there's a couple great questions here. One's kind of buyer, one's kind of seller, and then there's another good one here is, but Robbie's asking, best practices for a buyer's agent, and then Angie's asking, please let me know some thoughts to help sellers stay in this market. So I would just say a couple things on that, and again, this is just off the top of my head here, right? But if I had a seller right now, so I'd be doing a couple things. Number one is I'd be doing the best that I can to educate them on what's going to happen, right? We were in, I don't know your area, but nationally, before this, we were in a seller's market. There was low inventory everywhere. In Washington State, it's low inventory, right? So think about the demand for a seller if they can stick through this and weather the storm, right? It's that demand. The other thing that I'd be doing right now, and I think someone even just chatted in, is that look for an agent. Maybe you know someone who went through 2008, who went through 2009, 2010, right? And ask them, how did you maintain? What did it take? What happened after, right? That is the advice that you need right now to work with someone like that. And then when it comes to buyers, which is a great question, you've got to, it's kind of like I gave the example earlier with my friend Rich, is explaining to them why the pros and cons, right? Really, really be clear with them and help them understand. You've got to figure out the type of buyer that you're working with. If this is someone who is experienced, again, we'll use Washington State as an example. In Washington State, it is very difficult to find a home to afford. It is incredible how inflated home values are around here. It's like California, it's like New York. So there might be a buyer who has been so disappointed and frustrated trying to find a home, and for that person that maybe doesn't have a bunch of money, right? And I'm talking like cash. Maybe now's the perfect time for them, because they're not going to have a lot of competition. Think about things like Zillow, Redfin. Zillow and Redfin have halted buying homes, right? And I'm not saying that's going to mean that's massive, but those are big corporations that were in the home buying business, right? They're out now, right? So now might be the perfect time for that buyer. And maybe this is a buyer who doesn't have as much motivation, and so they want to wait. Again, just educate them on what this shift is going to be, because there's absolutely a shift occurring right now.
And I think we've talked about there being less competition among buyers and sellers, right? Which is great for someone who wants to list, and it's great for someone who's looking to buy. But right now, and Sheldon just touched on this, there's less competition among agents right now too, right? And so we've had a couple questions about, FSBOs and expireds. if we had one, if the FSBO is on the do not call, like can I still call them? I honestly would respect the do not call list, because if you call someone on the DNC and they know that they're on the list, you're immediately going to start that conversation up with walls up. Okay. And same thing with expired. Expired listings get called incessantly. Their phone is ringing off the hook. And so they've probably gotten into the habit of not answering their phone. And so for both of these types, this is a great time for direct mail. This is a great time for more physical, concrete means of getting in front of them, right? Whether it's a postcard or, simply dropping off a flyer. And we had a question earlier in the call too, where do people still consider direct mail to be safe to open? At the massive rate of Amazon deliveries, they're pretty much the only cars that we see on the roads right now. I don't think that there's any fear or trepidation with opening packages and direct mail. I think that is our way of staying in the world right now, right? We're ordering a lot of packages. We're doing a lot of online shopping. And so I don't think direct mail is going to take a hit or have any sort of, fear. But if you have an expired listing, instead of calling them, mail or drop off a packet with resources for them. It's a good opportunity for you to talk about why you're amazing at what you do, but it's also a good way for you to lead with service, right? If it's like a guide to the COVID real estate market, right? Things like that, because maybe they expired because of this shift, right? It's okay to call out that things are strange and different right now.
Another great question, and what Anna is basically asking is, how, would you recommend sending video with engaging past or current clients? Is it okay to just kind of do a general one, or what should I do here? And again, I think this is where you take advantage of the fact that we're all in this together. And so here's what I mean by that is, and again, if you're in a state that's different, please, this is just one example. But if I'm in a state where, let's say I'm using my market leader system, and I notice that someone saves a home, or they tell me listen, I love this home. You could easily go, like I said, drive by, get a video, send it to them. Is that going to make them buy? No, but that's the kind of engaging content that you could do right now, right? That's a way of engagement that's more relevant content that's not just generic, right? You try as best as you can right now to make it specific if you can in your area, right? Everybody's different. Things are changing, right? I was listening to some of the stuff today, and I don't want to get too political, but I heard them talking about how they might roll some of this stuff back in a couple weeks in sections, right? We're all going to have to adjust to this period of time. So try to come up with ways that you can engage with them right now.
And Michelle just asked a really great question. I offered a virtual tour to a buyer, but they declined because they wanted to see it in person. So what are your thoughts on wearing gloves and masks, and the little surgical slipper things over my shoes when showing properties? I don't want to scare them, but I want to protect myself, my client, and my community. And, this is a great question. When I go to the grocery store, I do see people wearing gloves and masks, and it's totally up to you. But I think instead of just wearing it and showing up that way, I would have a conversation with them about it, right? Hey, I have like an offer. I have, gloves. I have like little slipper booties you can wear. Obviously masks are in a little bit of demand right now. So I'd be shocked if anyone had extra masks, but, have a conversation. Like, do you mind if I wear gloves and a mask? I have extra gloves and little, those little booties. Like I can bring some for you. Would you like that? Right? It's okay to do those things, but, to some people, it could be a little frightening. Like you said, you don't want to scare them. So have the dialogue before so that they can walk in knowing what to expect, and offering them some of those supplies, or like little hand sanitizers if you can find it, or if you're making your own at home. Those are great things to offer them too.
I love this question. Again, just going off of this, what we're assuming here in this scenario, right? And this sounds like it's a real one, is that you're in a conversation with them and they tell you, no, you know what, I want to walk through it, so I'm not interested in that. Look, if it were me right now, I'd be saying that makes total sense. I'm not busy. I'd love to try to help you out if I can. Is there anything that you're concerned about? What if I went and took a video of the backyard, right? Would that help? Is that a concern, right? You're playing service right now because you got the time, right? I once had someone who when we were looking to buy a place, it was very important to her where the direction of the sun. I'd never thought about this in my entire life, but this was the most important thing to her. She wouldn't move into a place that didn't have the south-facing sun. Right? We got time for this stuff right now. What if you said, hey, listen, is there anything like that I can go figure out with the direction of the sun faces? Like, that's the service approach right now that we have time to do. It's not discounting the fact that they're still going to want to go walk through that home, but you're just engaging with them and making sure that when things do change, you're there for them.
And we had a few questions just on, what do you recommend just for kind of a soft touch to the people in your database, right, or your sphere? And in your marketing center, in your market leader system, there are a couple of different templates that you can use. I'm just going to pull this up really quickly. There are two specific COVID-19 templates that you can use and send. You can also modify them, right? You don't have to, use the default email text here. So in the marketing center here in my market leader system, I can click on email and video marketing. I want to show you the COVID templates and also the build your own video email templates. And so right now in the video and email marketing, I can just type COVID and it'll pull up those specific designs, right? Home buying in the time of COVID-19 and protecting yourself and others, right? These, if nothing else, if you're not crazy about these emails, use them as inspiration for your own type of email, right? I do want to caution you that I think right now there is a little bit of email fatigue happening with COVID-related emails, right? I think a lot of people are getting inundated from, services they use. I did puppy training at the city of Redmond, and now the mayor of Redmond is emailing me all the time. And, there is a little bit of fatigue. And so I think you can weave it into your conversation, but I might use a little bit of caution right now in terms of just doing COVID-only marketing. Because we're all getting inundated with it right now, and so you don't want to get too lost in the message. But additionally, when you go to the build and upload your own collection here, there's all of these BYO video templates where all you have to do is upload the template, right? Or excuse me, the video. There's a video home tour template, right? So let's say you do a video walkthrough, you can just put it on your YouTube channel or your Vimeo and just insert it into this email. You can update the text as well, but these are here and they're ready for you to just start personalizing and using them. Another really great suggestion for right now when we were talking about adopting new strategies is if you've ever wanted to get a YouTube channel and start, create a YouTube presence, this is an awesome time to do that. Not only is video more important than ever, but YouTube is also like its own Google. It's like its own search engine. And so that is a really great suggestion as well. And then another comment that we had from David on direct mail, direct mail gives folks who need it a screen break, right? This is especially important for the people who have, kind of turned into work from home employees. We're really on social media a lot. And so a handwritten note or postcard, right, still works great right now because it is a different channel. It's a different means. So let's see what other, lots of really great comments, you guys, that this is just what a lot of people needed just to kind of kickstart them into getting out there and maintaining your business. And so, Sheldon, question for you, if they've got a lot of leads in the system, right, how, and they're kind of actively looking, right, this isn't the time to be full court press and try to sell them. So how would you engage kind of those lukewarm leads that are visiting your site and looking at listings but not really reaching out? Would you change your approach?
I don't necessarily think I would change my approach because we're talking about in this scenario, it's a lead that you haven't really spoken to yet, right? You're still trying to engage them. My approach would stay the same, right? Is that you're going to continue following up with them. You're going to continue sending them listings that are relevant and matter to them and driving them to your website. So no, I would not change anything because like you said, this is someone that you haven't engaged yet. We're not talking about someone that you're in like deep conversations with that you've shown a home to, right? This is a lead that you're trying to engage with. You've got to stay top of mind, right? I really encourage everyone to be thinking about what's going to happen when that faucet turns on. Are you going to be ready? Are you going to have people in your pipeline or not during that period of time?
And then last question, will you guys be able to watch a replay of this? Absolutely. This is being recorded, and you will all receive a link to the recording shortly after we wrap up, which is just another few seconds here. We had a lot of questions on how do I add video to one of those video emails, and I will include a link to a video I did that details how to create those build your own video emails. And so everyone, thank you so much for joining today. You guys were just as inspiring and positive as I hope we were. It was very awesome to read all of you guys' great comments. This is an interesting time, but you guys are rocking it, and just continue doing what you're doing and just build on to your already amazing business, right? So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a great rest of the week, you guys. Bye-bye.